How's it going, everybody? Welcome to JRsCorner. I am JR. Today, I have a question for you. Maybe a couple questions. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you need to haul lots of people and stuff and things? You need the ultimate soccer mom vehicle, but you don't want to look like a soccer mom. Your pride, your man pride, or even woman pride for that matter, is too strong. You don't want to be that person in the minivan just blocking traffic in the left lane. You want to be able to go anywhere, do anything, drag a trailer while you're at it, with a truck full of people and your stuff and things? Of course you do. That's why today, formally introduce you to the Beast, also known as my 2013 Chevy Suburban. Got a project today. It's gonna be a fun one. Left my big truck up in Utah next to my RV trailer. So, just gotta work with what I got. And don't have any of the kids with me, which, by the way, I have 4. So I do need lots of space. And the Suburban gives me just that. So I've still got all my seats up. Throwing in my sand, some rocks, and some blocks. Ugh. Only my back wants to hold up. That would be good. But it's a Suburban. It's meant to haul stuff. And I make sure that we test that theory quite regularly. And so today, let's dive a little deeper into what makes a Suburban a Suburban. Why are they so popular? Let me show you. Now, one of the things that makes the Suburban so unique is it is the longest running nameplate in automotive brands or history. Meaning that this truck right here, that the name Suburban, has been around since 1935. And to me, that's pretty awesome. It means that people have found a good use for a big truck like this for many years. I mean, we're talking 85 years. This body style Suburban is a 10th gen, 2013. This generation was from 2007 to 2014. But you know what? Before I tell you about my truck, let's dive into Suburban in general. Okay, so going back in history, the first generation Suburban was from 1935 through 1940. It debuted in 1934. It was known as the Carryall Suburban, and it was basically just like a station wagon almost on a truck frame, and that's where it all stemmed from. It just something that was a little bit more durable, that got the job done for hauling stuff, and was a concept initially to literally carry the whole family and their gear all in one truck. The second generation Suburbans were from 1941 to 1946. They actually were also built, they shared something in common with the first gens, and that is they were built initially for military use to carry people. With the civilian versions, there was a Chevy and a GMC version of the Suburban. The Chevy version was a 6-cylinder, 216 cubic inch engine, where the GMC was a 6-cylinder, 228 cubic inch engine. Okay, now third gen Suburbans went from 1947 to 1954. They actually helped kind of bring to pass the now what we know as the Chevy HHR, which was kind of a weird station wagon looking thing from mid 2000s that, for what I know, didn't do so hot. It was built to compete with the PT Cruiser and just kind of looked funny. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it just kind of looked funny. Nowhere near the size or the prowess of a Suburban, or the power for that matter. But in the 53 model, going forward, that's actually where they started messing with the transmission. The 53 got a Hydromatic 4-speed, and it was available in 53 and 54 year models. And then that's also when they started doing the split second row bench, where in order to get into the back, the bench splits so that you can move one of the seats out of the way or forward to be able to crawl back behind it, which is something that they still use today as far as I'm aware. My Suburban has it, and I know all the other Suburbans that I've owned in the past have it as well. Alright, for the fourth gen, which went from 55 to 59, they really changed up the styling quite a bit. They also updated or included their straight 6 powertrain and also the small block V8s. They used the 265 V8, which later evolved into what we now know as the 283. GMC also had essentially like a Pontiac V8 in it, in their Suburban. But this is also the years where you ran into 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive models, whereas before it was just the 2-wheel drive. And so now they're adding 4-wheel drive to the mix, and this is really where you start getting more common, I guess, when you go to like a car show. This is where you don't really see a whole lot before this era, this generation. You know, and even the 4th gens you don't see a whole lot of, but you will see them occasionally. Okay, so for the 5th gen is 1960 to 66. These are really where you start to pique my interest, just because they're based off of the pickups, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Suburbans were a couple years behind the body styling of the pickup. But this is where you really start to get into my kind of taste for trucks, and the 5th gen Suburbans. This is where the notorious or famous CK badging came into play. This is when it was introduced. C being what preceded a half ton, and K for the 4-wheel drives. So this is where that was introduced. This is where they introduced front independent suspension and also torsion bar based suspension on the 2-wheel drives. Alright, so now we go on to 6th gen, which went from 67 to 72. 6th gen Suburbans have quite a few gadgets on them that were added to them that I think you still see today. For example, in 71 they added disc brakes to the front. They also, this is when they first introduced rear air conditioning to the back of the truck, and it's also when they eventually got rid of the panel van option for commercial use. That happened in, I believe, 1970 as well. Here's a fact for you when it comes to the Suburban. In 1967, about 6,200 Suburbans were sold.
because of the popularity of the Suburban by 1972. So we're talking in that 5 year span. In 1967, 6,200. In 1972, about 27,000 Suburbans. So obviously they're popular. Obviously people are buying them. Obviously people need to haul stuff and things and people, and the Suburban just seems like the good option to get everybody there. Okay, so now we get down to the 7th gen. 7th gen is probably one of my favorites. 73 to 91. It's 19-year run. The longest generation as far as year-wise is for the Suburban. That's the longest generation run, 19 years. And a lot of developments, changes, and things happened. You know, this is the Suburban that your local redneck will drive, but it's also used by guys that go off-roading. It's also used by guys that have, you know, that want to keep a nice truck on the road, and you know they still seem to go. So, you know, back in the early years, you had a 250 cubic inch, a 307, or a 350 small block, and then in 1973 they introduced the 454 big block. Now, one of the other things that I think is really important to the history of Chevy in general was these same engines, or really towards the end of the 80s when they switched to fuel injection from carbureted, they used the 350, the 454, and then they had a 6.2 liter diesel in those later years as well, which was a dog. All right, so the next on the list is going to be the 8th gen, and I'm actually going to start going through these a little bit quicker because most of these newer ones, most of you probably know something about them. I don't need to go into details too much. So the 8th gen, and I've actually owned quite a few of these 8th gen Suburbans, and have never had any trouble with them. The 8th gen went from 92 to 99, and these are probably one of my favorite Suburban as far as body style goes. Obviously, I think the square body is very unique because it has, like, you climb in a square body and it has like that sense of history to it, but at the same time it has kind of that I don't know what the term would be. It feels old, but it also doesn't feel that old. At least not to me, and I guess that may be dating myself. But this 8th gen Suburban, definitely one of my favorites. I always tried to get my hands on a clean 3/4 ton, but always ended up with a half ton every single time. The next one is going to be the 9th gen, which is 2000 to 2006, which includes the Yukons, the Yukon XLs, the Denalis, Tahoes. You know, they were all the same powertrain, obviously, with the Suburban being the longest. I actually owned a 2004, I want to say it was, that I bought from a friend who lived in New York. And kind of bought it sight unseen. It was a friend. I figured, you know, if he says it's in good condition, trust him. Everything should be good there. It was a rust pile of garbage. There were so many things underneath this truck that were just rusted out. I had dumped probably, in the first 6 months that I owned this truck, probably $6,000 into fixing things between the transmission and the rotted out brake lines and the rotted out brakes and the rotted out whatever else. Water pump was all jacked up. You know, the air conditioner didn't work. Like, there was a ton of problems with this truck that I was told, hey, it's great shape. And so I gave him the money without even doing anything because I figured he was a friend, and it got burned on it. But clearly that truck just didn't get taken care of very well. The maintenance wasn't done on it very well. And that's my fault for not checking it out there. 10th generation. So this is what my Suburban is. This is what my Tahoe was. 2007, 2014. You see these trucks everywhere. They're all over the road still. Every soccer mom in town's got one. They had a hybrid version of these for a while, which didn't last. I don't think they sold very well. Initially, you could get them in a 5.3 and a 6-liter. The 5.3 being in the half tons, the 6-liter being in the 3/4 tons, and then they eventually added a 6.2-liter in the Denali, the GMC Denali. 11th gen, 2015 through 2020. These trucks are really nice. I know quite a few people that have them, and I've driven a few myself. They're really nice trucks, especially if you get like the GMC Denali version of the Yukon, which is same thing as a Suburban but nicer. LTZ version is really nice. All kinds of buttons, all kinds of gadgets. Okay, so the 12th gen was just released here a few months ago as a 2021. Still, obviously, really nice. They're kind of funky looking. Like, I've driven by a couple of dealerships and seen them out there, and they look kind of funky. I haven't actually driven one yet. They look like the pickups, like you kind of expect them to follow suit, but they just look weird, I think. But I'm sure it'll grow on me, just like everything else that I think is ugly initially. Anyways, the thing I'm excited for with the Suburban, the 12th gen, is they actually announced a SS model for the Suburban, which is supposed to be pretty cool. A little bit different. Hopefully they do a good job with that and make it look cool. But at the same time, I want them to continue to offer, off-road packages like the Z71 package or things like that that are better equipped for going off-road. But that is the history of the Suburban. So it's been around for ages. It hauls people, it hauls stuff and things. It gets the job done. I've owned quite a few of them, and they work for me. So there you go. There's a long but quick history on the Suburban. Been around for a long time, 85 years, and it's come a long way in those 85 years, just like cars in general have come a long way. But all right, now back to the show. Now that we've explored the history of the Suburban, let's take a dive into this one and see what makes it so special. Let's start with where it really counts. Couldn't find the door handle there. Under the hood. Under the hood. What can you do, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and get this hood popped. Alright, there she is, my dirty 5.3 liter V8, complete with cold air induction, AM brute forced. What? This old girl right here, she's got some miles on her. I've only owned the truck for about a year. I bought it when my Tahoe. These 5.3s are notorious for the top end not starving for oil, especially if it's got the fuel management system on it.
and that's exactly what happened to mine. The top end starved for oil, and it ended up spinning a cam bearing. So I bought this guy just to get me through, and got some miles on it. It's definitely been on some road trips already. Definitely seen some dirt, some mountains, and we can make sure that it gets taken full advantage of. 5.3 liter V8, kicking in about 320 horsepower from the factory, with a 335 foot-pounds of torque rating on that. This guy, obviously, with the intake, it's also running a 91 tune with a tune for the transmission as well, so she gets up and moves. I've also got custom exhaust on this truck, and she's got an owie. She's got a little bit of an owie, which is why I put the grill on there. Besides looking cool, the old grill that was on there when I bought it was all busted up. So we wanted to make sure that she got some love. Got some meaty BFG all-terrains on there, the KO2s, I believe they are. And I don't know if you can see it, but got some dirty brakes with some cross-drilled rotors, slotted rotors. Just because I do drive a lot, I am towing often, and let's see if we can get the exhaust. I actually had this custom built at an exhaust shop the first time I drove this truck. So I bought this truck on the internet from a dealer up in Utah, and I hadn't seen it, I hadn't driven it, I hadn't done anything with it, and they I got picked up in the airport when I flew up there. I got picked up at the airport, and the first thing I thought of, this thing is way too quiet, this thing is way too normal for me. It is the LT, so the Suburbans and the Tahoes come in the LS, LT, and LTZ packages, with the LTZ obviously being the highest. If you go the Yukon route, which is the same powertrain as the Suburban, the Yukon comes in a obviously you have the Yukon and then the Yukon XL. Yukon is the equivalent to the Tahoe. The Yukon XL is the equivalent to the Suburban, with the XLT, the I don't remember the lower one. XLT is the middle one, similar to the LT, and then the Denali is the high one. The Denali actually comes with a 6.2 liter, and those things are pretty tricked out. It's the next best thing to like an Escalade. The LT is supposed to be kind of the middle grade as far as the Suburban goes, but my truck happens to have it all. So my Tahoe was an LTZ, and the only thing that this doesn't have that my Tahoe did have is automatic fold-in mirrors, which brake, and rain-sensing wipers. Other than that, this truck is actually better equipped than my LTZ was. It's got the Bluetooth connectivity. It's got dual TVs, leather, seats 8. She's ready to go for an adventure, you know. So I think she's a good truck, and let's go take her for a rip. Alright, so this old girl, like I said, 2013. This one's got about 150,000 miles on it, so she's got some life left in her. Actually, does pretty much what I need it to do. You know, drag a trailer here or there, haul people, whatever you ask of it, and it's probably just off the top of my head, probably third or fourth, maybe fifth Suburban that I've owned, and then my Tahoe. So I've owned quite a few of these little people haulers. The biggest thing is I like this one a lot more than, say, the Tahoe, because the Tahoe, if you've got the third row, you don't have any room behind it for stuff, and this has plenty of room behind it. It's got 3 rows. Everybody's comfy. Everybody's got enough space to kind of spread out. My kids are kind of tall, so you know that is important, because on long trips they get all cramped up, and I don't want them to be whining in my ear. I mean, duh. And so this truck definitely serves that purpose, to be able to solve those issues. It's got the DVD player. It's got heated seats in the front should you need them. I guess that's another thing that the LTZ has, is the middle row has heated seats in it too on the LTZ, whereas this one does not. But don't really care. So one of the it's got the Bluetooth connectivity, which any car should have that anymore. All right, I had to improvise because the camera holder is way too shaky going over this bumpy road, and so wanted to make sure the video's not terrible. With the intake, the 91 octane tune, and the exhaust, she definitely breathes better. She definitely gets better gas mileage, and she definitely sounds better. I mean, who doesn't like having sounds? And just for the record, let's take a look here. So my average fuel economy is 16.1. And that is probably average. That's city driving, that's highway driving for probably the last several months at least. It's probably been a while since I've read. And I mean, I still leave the active fuel management going, just because I do drive long distances quite often, and it does me well. That's not enough to deter me from using that. The biggest thing is I just need to make sure that she's topped off, because like I said, these do have a problem with starving the top end, and they do use oil once they get some miles on them. And so it's just a matter of just checking your oil once in a while, which you should be doing anyways, and making sure she's good, and go from there. So that's my Suburban. Let her rip, tater chip. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys get back to your day. Thanks for watching. If you like it, hit that like button, or subscribe. The more subscribers I get and the more likes I get, the more likely I can get do better, cooler stuff. And if everything goes the way I'd like it to, that's only going to benefit you guys. So thanks for watching again. Hope you like it, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye. Deuces. Thanks for watching my video. Just wanted to get on here and say life has been crazy. The last few weeks, months have just been wild.
been doing a lot of driving, trying to take care of life. You know, life's just been throwing some curveballs, but just wanted to let you know that kind of gotten through most of it, other than I drained my pool the other day because I just got home and it was all swampy and now it leaks. Yay! So anyways, just wanted to say thanks for watching. I appreciate any support, all support. Hopefully should be getting back on some sort of schedule for putting out some videos and stuff. Just because I am home now, I'm not driving as much. Don't have to run back and forth between here and Utah, although I will be going back up there in a couple weeks. Started a new job here not too long ago, so just a lot of things that I got going on that have kept me from being able to make videos a little bit more regularly like I was, and I hope to get back to that schedule here soon. So thanks. Give me that thumbs up or the like. I appreciate it. Check me out on Instagram, check me out on Facebook so you don't miss any of the video posts. Hit the little notification bell. Sometimes I post stuff I see just driving around on Instagram that doesn't make it into a video, so that's always a kind of a good place to check. Or if you are more of a Facebook person, it gets posted there as well. So give me a follow on those. JRsCorner. You should be able to search for it, and if not, I'll put a link in it. I usually put a link in the description for both of those. Also thinking I might be running a contest here soon because I'm looking to get up in followers, and so one of the ways to do that is to throw a contest and give you guys free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff? So one of the things I was thinking about doing was, I mean, this is all for fun anyways, you know, I'm just not really looking to hit it big or anything like that. I'm just doing it for fun because I'm always doing stuff and figured I'd record it, and so I was thinking, okay, well, maybe if I get enough followers I can do like a giveaway. So maybe, you know, if I get to 50 followers, randomly give maybe one or two people, maybe a few people, $50. Everybody loves cash money, especially right now. Christmas is coming. And then if I do that, maybe when I get to 100, give it same thing with $100. You know, there's ways to do that. Again, I'm not looking to profit off of this. It's just something fun to do. And so what better way than to give back to you, the viewers, so that, you know, you guys get something out of it too, I guess. I mean, I guess, whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. There's obviously some kinks that need to be worked out. So, looking to do some big things. Got a lot of projects coming up. It's starting to cool off here in Arizona today. Today, that high was only like 102. So here in another couple weeks, we should be cool enough to be able to really go outside and start cranking on stuff again. Definitely have some interesting ideas in the works. And with my new job, if everything goes like I plan, I should have a little bit more time and money to spend on car parts. Everybody loves car parts. So anyways, that's enough of me rambling. I appreciate your support. My computer's falling asleep, and I will let you go. Thank you again. I know I've said that a few times. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And to all of you haters, there's been a few who say that I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, I don't care what you think, honestly. Like, I did car stuff for 15, 20 years ish before I hurt my back and had to stop, and I still tinker with it. So you telling me I don't know what I'm talking about means nothing. Anyways, to the rest of you, I appreciate you. Have a good day. Don't let Corona get you down. People have stopped hoarding toilet paper, and it was all because of me. Like I said, don't hoard toilet paper. Yeah, anyway, we're done here. Alright, deuces. Bye.